Hi, this will be approximately a 10-minute video taking you through the fundamental differences between the old way of capturing your bank statement transactions and the new way. It's not going to be an in-depth demonstration on how the new banking system works, but really just to kind of get you up to speed quickly. So what we have in front of us here is the old cash book or banking screen. And the way you got here is through banking transactions and either process banking credit cards if you wanted to enter your transactions manually, or bank statements if you wanted to import transactions into the cash book or bank statement screen. You had payments on a tab, receipts, transfers in, transfers out, import bank statements, quick entry rules, all the normal stuff. And your columns were simple: date, description, type, selection, etc. The immediate difference on the new screen is that you can see it's much bigger. So we really use the entire width of the screen. And what you will notice is there are no more of the tabs, payments, receipts, transfers in, transfers out. It's all just one screen that stays the same. The transfers in, payments, receipts are really done through two ways. Spent and received will tell the program whether it's a payment or a receipt, and you match that up with the type of the transaction. So like over here, it's either an account, a customer that you're receiving money from, a supplier that you're paying to, a VAT payment, or a transfer. So it's much simpler. You don't have all the tabs. What's also quite new is that we have split up the old description field is now split into a description field and a payee field. So for instance, in the old way, you would have had to say telecom, telephone and internet in like one field, where now we split up who you're transacting with from the actual description of the transaction. So over here, where you can see it's National Bank charges, before you would have had to have that all squeezed into just the description field. So we think that that's neater. What we've also done is we're trying to show you the main information in front of you. So on the transaction line, we show you the VAT type, is it spent, is it received. Where on the old screen we showed you the exclusive amount, the inclusive amount, the discount, the VAT, and we felt that that was taking up a lot of space that wasn't necessary. On the new screen, if you want to see all that stuff, let's go to we're paying an account, it's telephone and internet. If I drop that down with this little arrow, then I will see more information about that transaction, the exclusive amount, the VAT amount, the analysis codes, and any note. But we just feel that it's neater to just have the main information shown. So essentially that's the differences in the field setup of the screen itself. Over here you've still got your edit rules like you did before with the mapping, split transactions you've got over here, do an attachment. All of that's quite similar, but you'll see that the screen is a lot easier to work with. You can use your up and down arrows very easily and move around. We know that there were issues before where sometimes your cursor would jump around the place without you knowing it. All of that's kind of been sorted out, far more solid feel. What's also really nice with the new screen is, I know a lot of people have been asking for this, but you can click on the column headings and have the transactions sorted. So if you want it sorted by spent or received, there you can see. Also what's great is in the search button, we can now restrict whatever you see in the cash book to what you're looking for. So if you want to see everything from National Bank, you just type National and only the stuff from National Bank shows. I'll just cancel that search so that it all shows. What's also important is that if it spanned more than one page, you would actually see page 1, page 2, page 3. So we've split the transactions up into different pages instead of having a list that goes on and on forever. Okay, we've discussed the look and feel of the two different screens. What's important now is what are the changes in the way the program works. So what I have in front of me here is the old bank statement screen. Remember, banking, transactions, bank statements, that's how we got here. And you would choose a bank and import a file. And then all your transactions would be imported, and depending on whether there was a rule or not, it would be automatically allocated. And until you clicked on the process button, none of your accounts or your bank would be updated. In the new program, or the new functionality, once you do an import of a bank statement, as the transactions come into your cash book, your accounts are automatically updated. Now, this is a critical difference between the old way of working and the new way of working. Just to go through it again, in the old way of working, until you went process, nothing was updated. With the new way of working, as the transactions are imported using the imported bank statement functionality, your accounts are updated. Critically, this balance here reflects the bank balance, including the transactions that you see in front of you. Now, that may kind of seem a bit weird, but in fact it's not a problem at all. Any transactions that are not allocated through a rule or remember in the old one you had the mapping rules? Well, now if we don't find a rule, we leave a deposit, a receipt, to an unallocated income account, and any expense that we don't know where it should go to, we leave as an unallocated expense. And you can come in at a later point and do the allocations as you want, but at least the bank balance up here on the top left will reflect the current bank balance. You don't have to ask yourself, are there unposted or unprocessed or processed transactions? You know that whatever you see here has been updated. What you see on the new screen are two tabs, the new transaction tabs and the reviewed transactions tab. In terms of what's been updated in Sage 1, there's no difference. Whether your transactions are in the new transactions tab or the review tabs, both will update your balance. But what we've tried to do is separate the new transactions that you're working with or you've just been imported, as opposed to the transactions you're happy with. Remember, in the old screen, you had payments, receipts, transfers in, transfers out. The whole concept's different. There's now new transactions and reviewed. So if you want to think about it, it's transactions I've already looked at and I'm happy with, they're in the reviewed, and the new ones are in new. So let's go and get some transactions into the new tab. So we've chosen our bank, let's just say National Bank. We go import bank statements. I'll do it in CSV format. I'll browse to the file, and we are now going to import the transactions. And you'll see in 2 seconds it's all done, and there are all the transactions. Now, that's a typical bank statement import that you would have done in the old system. If there were rules, it would have picked them up. Anything to National Bank goes to bank charges. Anything that's unallocated goes to unallocated, just like in the old way, except remember, these unallocated expenses and income, they're kind of special accounts where we hold those transactions that we didn't know what to do with, but the balance is still updated. So now what you've got here are all your transactions in the new tab. If I want to go to the review transactions, I can go there and you can have, say, show me transactions from date to date, so you could go back as far as you want, and then we've separated them into the different screen numbers. You can go last, first, whatever, to see them all. Remember, just to go through something very useful, if let's say you wanted to see only stuff to Liberty Life, you would just go and restrict and say Liberty. So remember, I could go to the beginning of time and there's everything to Liberty. So you could do it that way. That's working within the cash book screen and restricting the transactions to what you've typed in over here. You could also have gone over here and typed Liberty, and that's a general search throughout the whole product. Different kind of search, similar result, but over here you can restrict what you're seeing in your cash book grid to whatever you're typing there. I find that very, very useful. Okay, so you're probably asking yourself, well, how do transactions then get moved from the new transaction tab to the reviewed? Well, once you've gone through everything and you've done your allocations and whatever you want, I'm going to leave a lot of blanks here, but don't worry about it. You then just say mark selected as reviewed or mark all as reviewed. So you may want to just choose a few that you're happy with and then only move those from the new transaction tab to reviewed. I'm actually going to select all of them and say because all have been selected, those two will do the same thing. So I'm just going to say mark all as reviewed, and what's going to happen now is it just moved all those transactions from the new into the reviewed tab. So if I go reviewed, let's just say from the 1st of February, because that's what we were working on, just to prove that they're all there. So all the ones we were working on, here they are. They just moved from the new to the reviewed. And it's just like a neat way of dividing your work. Remember, you can still come in here and do like bank charges. It's unallocated at the moment. I'll say they're bank charges, and now all of a sudden it's not unallocated anymore, and I can work as I want. I could sort the selection out. That's also quite useful to me, because over here if I sort it, I can see everything that's unallocated. It's all there right in front of me. And those are basically the changes. I think they're amazing changes. You may feel a bit unsure in the beginning, but remember, you can edit your transactions if you made any mistakes. Play around with it. We've also got some nice shortcut keys, which is useful. Look at these. So for instance, if you don't like using the mouse, and let's say I want to go and split a transaction, Control L. So I'm in a field, and all I quickly do is I say Control L, and there all of a sudden the split comes up. Something else that's very nice, a lot of people have been asking for that, is if you received money from a customer, you can actually go and allocate it to the customer invoice. So there you see all the invoices of the customer, and you can go and do your allocations. There's a lot in this new build. All we've tried to do in 10 minutes is really condense the fundamentals for you. I have no doubt that you will love it. It's just trying to get you up to speed a lot quicker. Thank you very much for watching and for listening.